started. My name's Emily. I'm one of the admissions advisors here at the university. I work with both freshmen and transfer. So if you're a freshman student or a transfer, like we're gonna get keys add. You're more than welcome. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my contact info in there. If you guys have any questions, I will drop my contact info. If I'm not your direct counselor, I'll put you in contact with your counselor. Quick reminders, if you have any questions about status of your application, where you're falling right now, feel free to reach out to your counselor. Again, feel free to email me and I'll forward it to them. If you have not done your FAFSA yet, please complete your FAFSA as we're sending out financial aid packages now. And if you have any questions about that, again, feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Riley and two of his students that he has on with us tonight to talk about the Justice House and living learning communities on campus. So Dr. Riley, the floor and the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Emily. Nice to meet you all. If you are able to, I would appreciate it if you could turn on your video just so that we can see some faces and see who you are. If you're not in a position where you can do that right now, that's okay. No worries. But so as Emily said, I'm Dr. Riley. I am the chair of the political science department, and I direct the international studies program as well. And this is really my passion. Working with the justice houses, working with the students on social justice issues is really, it's been the passion that I've really engaged in over the past 4 years. And this is a really, really exciting program. I hope you'll agree with that by the time we're done with this really brief presentation. And I'm going to do very little talking. I'm going to put it mainly to Matt and Michaela. Because they are students living in the houses right now. I think are you both in the houses presently? Okay. And along with another 20 or so students, I put in the chat a picture of what the justice houses look like. There are 3 in the center of campus that are committed to the justice program, and the houses end up with students that are working on social justice issues, environmental justice, and legal justice. And so anyone who's interested in those areas, maybe going into a career in law, maybe getting into advocacy, maybe doing something environmental, maybe just wanting to be engaged in those things, this is an opportunity to not just be a student at Niagara University, but to live in a community with other students that are really focused on these same issues. You don't have to be in any particular major. We are open with regard to what your background is and what your interests are, as long as it focuses in some way on justice. And so we're in now our 4th year of this. It's been growing each year, and this year is new in the sense that what we've done is we've added a central course that students all take who live in the houses. And so we work on projects together through these courses. And I will actually include in here as well, in the chat, the syllabus so that you can take a look. The course is an opportunity for us to work on common themes and issues and projects, but also when we bring in speakers and when we do trainings, all of the students are available and able to work together in these. And we really have some fantastic speakers, internationally known, some of the people on the front edge of what's happening in social justice. Today, Michaela and Matt both participated in a mediation training because they are peer mentors for the program, and they'll talk about what that involved. But when you get a chance, take a look at the syllabus, shoot me an email if you have any questions at all. All of my contact information is on there. And that's really just to give you an idea of what you could expect being a part of these houses. We have, so one of the things, just to describe real quickly, we're reading a couple of key books in the area of social justice. One is a book called Black Revolution on Campus. The author is Martha Biondi from Northwestern University. She'll be coming and speaking with us, well, virtually, will be speaking with us about the book and specific questions we have about that. We have an author by the name of Peter Gelderloos talking about how to build consensus within groups. And then he'll be talking with us after the talk, after we finish reading that as well. We have Bill Ayers, who is was a member of the Weather Underground, one of the founders of that organization, is going to be talking about some specific issues on campus that we're working on. Johanna Fernandez, who is a researcher on the Young Lords. Joe Brown, who does domestic terrorism. Michael Lodenthal, who does security community work and activism. We have a presentation on free speech on campus. We have a film series that we're rolling out this year that we're really excited about. And then we're also doing additional trainings. So the students are going to be training on self-defense for activists. They're going to be training on mediation, and then also how to support different movements. And so that's the kind of thing that we're doing in the course collectively. All of those things apply no matter what your discipline is. So we have students in social work, we have students in international studies, political science, history, Michaela and Matt can probably describe better, pre-med, biology, a whole variety of different areas. It doesn't matter what your area is, these issues apply across the board. So let me turn it over to Michaela or Matt, and you guys can talk a little bit about how you're gearing up for the semester. And I'll put a couple of key prompts in the chat that maybe you could speak to after we get started a bit. The one last thing that I'll say is if any of you have any questions, throw them into the chat or raise your hand either virtually or in person, and we'll be happy to stop and answer whatever questions you might have.
Hi guys, my name is Michaela Rosetti. I use she, her pronouns. So I am currently a senior and I live in the Justice Houses. I study political science and international studies. I have minors in law, Africana studies, and philosophy. So I joined the houses in its first year, 3 years ago in my sophomore year. And so it's definitely been a building process in like in the houses and how they've progressed over time. What started out as a group of people passionate about justice and applying justice into their everyday lives on campus and their communities, and then even at a larger scale in like statewide, nationally, and we kind of had like a loose framework. We didn't know necessarily how to engage everybody with who had different levels of activism or knowledge about activism. And since then, we've developed this course, the course that Dr. Riley was talking about a little while ago, and it's kind of served as an entrance for everybody, because everybody in the houses right now, there are about how many, like 25-ish, and every single person is passionate about justice in some way, shape, or form. Everybody got into justice in different ways unique to them, and their stories are all extremely interesting and relevant. And so I mean, the justice houses relate to current events because I mean, I think really just turn on the news. Every single thing in the news related to politics right now, regardless of if you think, I mean, I assume if you're in this meeting, you see the significance in it and how it does relate to justice, but like truly every single issue, no matter how small it may seem, is related to some sort of power structure or oppressive state that maybe not everybody realizes, and it's our job as activists or future activists to, thanks Matt, to see that and recognize that and counter that. So the projects that I was involved with last semester and plan on continuing this semester. So I was part of the community garden project, and we're basically trying to build a community garden on campus. And so what often happens in projects is you merge project and merge ideas to try to make your vision come to life, even if it's not initially what you thought. So what started out as us wanting to create a community garden for people on campus to come enjoy with no strings attached, turned into a combination of a food pantry project on campus, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a food pantry for, I believe it's just for students right now, food donations and canned goods and such for students that may struggle to have to eat, because I mean that's the reality of life, right? So kind of combining that with the community gardens project, we're going to work on growing food and kind of providing for the projects.
Good. Thank you, Michaela. Really, like, it's really an amazing program. Like Michaela said, we've got people of all levels, all interests, but what is fantastic about that is we all kind of intersect at wanting to create a better world and a better campus for ourselves and for people in the future. I'll talk a little bit about some of the projects too. Oh, and some of the traveling as well. I've been in the house. I'm sorry, I didn't do an introduction. My name is Matt Mckenzie. I go by he, him pronouns, and I'm a political science international studies major. This is going to be my 4th year in the house. We've had a lot of amazing opportunities. We've been able to go to New York City and meet with activists and organizers. We've been able to tour the United Nations and meet with people that work for NGOs. We've been able to go to Washington, D.C. and engage in workshops with fellow organizers and students and really be where the discussion and the energy is happening. It's really, and when I mean like it's people of all levels, it's I'm of course a senior student, but this year is when we first opened the house up to freshmen, and I've been lucky enough to see myself develop, and I've been over the moon about seeing the development of our freshman students, like even outside of like academics, them developing, being more confident in themselves, being more confident in their ability to speak or their ability to just know who they are. It's really an amazing space. I've made friends this semester that I will have probably for the rest of my life. I could not be more proud of them. And going with that too, like with our advisors, they're really our mentors. Being able to work with Dr. Riley, Professor Hinckley, who's not here tonight, and Professor Pickering, who's not here tonight. These are all experts in their field. Like, it allows for a really amazing, more one-on-one relationship that will help you even more in classes and even in the future. We're with these houses, like we'll have like an amazing alumni network of people. Like this is really going to be something fantastic. And then with that, we're really in like a student-led space. Of course, me and Michaela are peer mentors, and we're here to help you in ways that you might need. But like this is for us. Like we support one another, and it's a really fun space. COVID's been really hard, but we've been able to take care of one another. We've been able to be safe, and we've been able to have fun and still learn in this environment.
So let me just jump in real quickly. Matt mentioned travel within the United States. We also have done trips to Cuba. Matt and Michaela didn't do that trip. We're hoping to do that one again sometime soon. And then also to Puerto Rico, where Matt and Michaela both did go. We went to Yabacoa for a disaster relief trip to help with rebuilding houses after Hurricane Maria there. So our focus is really on taking the lessons that we're learning in the classroom and building those into projects that we get excited about as a group, and then take those and realize them in the world in different places. Identify the kinds of issues that we see, whether it's on or off campus, and really work on those together. And so the houses are a safe space. They're intended to be a place where we can all come together, where there is support, where there is an opportunity to develop these friendships, as well as to really grow together. Matt and Michaela are peer mentors, so they're upperclassmen who are there basically to provide support to the freshmen, whether that's mentoring with coursework, whether it's working on life issues, whatever it might be. They're there specifically to help with that process. And so, as Matt said, it is very much a student-led experience. And Michaela, maybe you could talk a little bit about the friendships and what you see as your role in being a peer mentor. While you're doing that, I'm going to put into the chat a description of who the peer mentors are, just to give you an idea of the kind of people that you would be working with in this program.
Yeah, of course. So the role of peer mentor really isn't, it's not to be like a parent. It's not to create like a hierarchical status between house members. It really is, like Dr. Riley said, to generate a support network between people within the houses, because quite honestly, like, you're living in relatively close quarters with a lot of like really strong-willed, strong-minded people. You're bound to butt heads. It's really inevitable. And we definitely dealt with that a lot last semester, and that's part of what we talked about tonight in the mediation training that Dr. Riley was talking about earlier. And so our role isn't to tell people what to do, what not to do. Here's, you know, this and that you have to do. It really is just to be a support system and to kind of guide conversation that needs to happen as it comes. And it really is a learning process. I mean, Matt and I still feel like a kid. So it's a learning process, but it's one that has definitely helped the houses flow smoothly, and I think Matt can probably attest to that. And it genuinely is just to support everything that you guys may need, like where's the library, how do you print something, anything from stuff as simple as existing on campus to stuff that's activist related. So we're here for anybody in the houses as a support network.
And so let me talk a little bit about some of the logistics of the program itself. In terms of cost, we've made a commitment that this will be the cheapest housing on campus. So whether you were to live in the Justice houses, or if you live in, let's say, a triple in one of the towers, the freshman towers, it will be the same cost. You won't pay any more to be a member of the Justice houses as a freshman. And that's because we want to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. So that's the first thing. Don't expect that just because we're offering all of these additional programming, trainings, and opportunities that you would pay more. It's going to be exactly the same cost of what you would pay elsewhere to be at the university. The second thing is, in terms of the application process, it is very informal and relaxed. It really starts with you just doing this tonight. We'll probably follow up with an email just saying, if we can answer any questions, let us know, and we're happy to do that. But, you know, at any point you can send us an email and say, I would love to be a part of this. I'm ready to sign on, and we'll get you ready for next semester and to be a part of the houses. We do have limited space in the varsity village, but we are also going to expand outward and probably take over a floor of one of the other dorms as well, to create that opportunity for students to be a part of it in a broader sense. So it should be accessible to everyone. Are there any questions that we can answer at this stage? Anything at all that we've said that either has you wondering or something that resonated? Anything that jumps out to you?
Someone in the chat box asked a question, would the cost be the same for a transfer student?
Yes, it would. The only difference is freshmen are required to be on the meal plan, upperclassmen are not. So, and that's for across the university as well. So it would actually be a little bit less potentially for a transfer student. There are full kitchens in the houses. There's also laundry facilities, 2 bathrooms in each house. So currently we have, because of COVID, I'm sorry, 3 bathrooms, even better. Because of COVID, we have the residences are down to, I think there are maybe 7 or 8 students in each house. So it's a relatively small number. Most are singles right now. So as you can imagine, there's a lot less contact than you would have in the towers as well, in the freshman housing. What have I missed, Matt?
You covered it pretty well. We have a living room. The rooms are actually bigger than the dorms, which is very nice. So space has never been an issue in the houses. It's really great. Like we have a TV, fridge. Oh, and my all-time favorite part is we have a washer and a dryer in the house. So you do not have to go to the basement to do your laundry anymore. So
another thing that I forgot to mention is the contact that we have is a little less because of COVID, and we're trying to identify ways that we can make that as workable as possible. So we're going to be doing more movie nights right now. We're going to be doing basically showing a series of films and then having conversations about them afterwards. So films that deal with social justice issues, maybe in a lighter way or in a more serious way, and then working on those. We have a reading group as well, and there will also be game nights and other things like that. So we're expanding the range of the types of opportunities. I can say, as someone who doesn't live in the houses but gets to watch the students all the time, they seem to have a lot of fun together. I can remember even in the first week of classes, actually even before classes started last year, the students all went down to the whirlpool down by Niagara Falls and went for a hike down there together, and they went to a pumpkin patch in the fall and picked pumpkins together. There's a really collaborative sort of fun environment that the students all work together on. So there's it's in some ways it's more serious because we're dealing with social justice issues, but at the same time, there's a lot of fun that's had between the students, and there's also a much closer contact with the faculty as a result of the experience as well. Okay, so I see a couple of questions. The selection process is really, Logan, is based on first of all, interest and identifying what what students are interested in and whether or not that fits with the broader group. Again, our goal is to be as inclusive as possible, but we do want to see diverse interests, diverse experiences, and try and create an opportunity for everyone to engage. And so what that means from us is, depending on how much of a demand there is, there may be a process where to live in Varsity Village right now in the fall might be slightly more competitive. But again, what we will do is we will make sure that there is what we'll call a Justice House Annex on campus where other students will be able to live and participate in the course and participate in all of the different activities that we do. So you would still be directly engaged. You would also be able to go to the Justice Houses all the time. You would have access to the common rooms and to all of the facilities there as well. So we would make sure that everyone is engaged. But the application process is really, we'll do just a brief conversation with you, whether it's by email or in person. Maybe ask a couple of questions, and that's about it. We are still revising the website for the specific application process. But as I said before, if you are interested now and know that this is what you want to do, shoot me an email now, and we'll get you right on the list and put you at the top of the list in terms of priority for joining. The difference from the honors dorm, I didn't know we had an honors dorm. We don't. Okay. Yeah. So that has been something that's been talked about as a possibility, and in fact, that's something that I was working on with some of the other schools. Niagara University is connected to St. John's and DePaul as well. There are sister schools. We're all Vincentian, and there's been talk about creating some sort of an honors dorm where students would engage in all of those campuses. So that might be something, Keith, that where your son could engage in that somewhere down the road. We don't actually have an honors dorm right now. And so this is, in that sense, an opportunity to go a step further and do something that's a little more closer to what it is that you might imagine from an honors dorm. And I can tell you that one of the other faculty who's involved, Kevin Hinckley, was a graduate of Niagara University and then went to Harvard Law School. While he was at Harvard, he got to see the way they run their houses there. And it's very similar to what we're doing with the justice houses, where you have students focusing on specific topics and they are all themed and they work together with faculty. That's the kind of experience that we're trying to create. So in that sense, it is kind of an honors dorm in a sense. Student athletes, Michaela, do you want to take that one? Because I know some of the students in the house are athletes.
Yeah, actually, one of the other peer mentors, Marin, she is on the Division I lacrosse team here. So it is all about balance. I mean, it's completely possible to do both the justice houses and practice on your team. It's about prioritizing your time and balancing your time. We're really understanding, we're a community. So if there's an event or something that you can't go to because you have a game or you have practice or something that you really can't miss, you're not going to get kicked out of the houses or anything like that. It's really just about balance, and it's a support network. So if anybody is a student athlete and they need help with homework, or they are really bad at managing their time and they need somebody to help them manage their time, that's really what the peer mentors are here for. So it's completely possible. It's just about balance.
Yes, Jada, the same would apply to ROTC as it would for athletes. Yep.
There was a question prior to Jada's question asking if they don't get into the houses freshman year, can they apply to join their sophomore year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we our original thought was that it would be freshmen exclusively, but what we've changed our approach to this, and it's going to be students all the way through. And in fact, as we're offering the courses, we're bringing in other students from across campus who are learning about the program, getting excited about it, and joining that way as well. So it is always open right through from freshman through senior year. And we do, I had a meeting today with the president of the university. One of the things that we've been talking about is the possibility of taking over one of the larger dorms, because there is such an interest in this that we may somewhere down the line take over O'Donoghue. We'll have 60 rooms for 60 students, and we will also have student offices for activism down on the first floor. So we're thinking about how this is going to evolve over time. And one of the things that I would say is, it's going to evolve the way the students are interested in it. Michaela and Matt have been two of the biggest activists in terms of developing this program, but we're really taking their advice and following what it is that they want to do. So, Gabby, if you come in as a sophomore and you have a vision of what you want to do as a student at Niagara, we're all ears and we're ready to listen to what you want to focus on, what you want to work with, and we'll be there to support you on it. So
speaking to that point as well, like the houses have been one of the biggest support systems in my life. And then with coming in with a vision, like really we work to make sure that you are in a position or are able to put yourself in a position to make change, to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and to give us one example of that, we had two students that were interested in mental health issues. One is a social work major. And what we've done with those students is we've started a new peer support group on campus. And that's going to be one of our major projects moving forward, is developing peer counseling support on campus through the houses. So, you know, this came entirely out of the student interest, and that's the way we want it to be. The faculty are not interested in telling you what to do. We're, you know, we don't want to create a situation where ultimately it's our vision. We want it to be yours. And this is really about empowering students to make choices on where we go. Michaela, could you talk a little bit about some of the friendships that you've developed?
Yeah, I was actually just talking today with one of the other members of the houses that I mean, I feel like everybody in the house, we're all a little bit weird. And that's because there literally is, I mean, we joke around, we're like the island of misfit toys. Like we all are just like oddballs. And seriously, I have never felt so like warm and welcomed. And I can truly just be myself. I feel closer with the people that I met this semester than people I've known my whole life. So it truly is like a family unit, and I'm really not lying when I say like I've made friends this semester that, like Matt said, I will have for the rest of my life. So it's a real bonding experience, experiencing the trials and tribulations of everyday life together. Great highs and low lows. You guys are all together through it all, and I really do have some of the best friends in these houses, and I wouldn't change it.
So where are some of you coming from? Where are you zooming in from? Sierra said you're in Western New York. Where specifically?
Lockport.
Oh, okay, not far at all.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. We've had quite a few students in political science that have come from Lockport. So I've been impressed with the schools there. So Drew Dunlop is the most recent one that I can think of, but I know that there are others as well. So. And is it Jada?
Wait, for me or the other Jada?
Yeah, I noticed that there were two for you. Bordley.
I'm from Alabama.
Alabama. Wow. I don't think you're going to win for farthest away, but that's pretty cool. How are things in Alabama right now? There was a hurricane that just went through Birmingham, right?
Yeah, my friends from UAB said something about that, but
Yeah.
we just got a big storm in Auburn.
Gotcha. And so tell me, Jada, how did you hear about Niagara University?
Well, I was trying to look at change of locations around like September, and I just really loved it. Like I saw the campus online, and I was like, wait, that's so pretty. And then I started looking into it.
So I don't know what's happening in terms of student visits to campus during COVID. If we can do it, Jada, come and stay in one of the houses, because we would love to have you, for a night so that you could get a sense of what it's like, get to know the students and stay over. And that applies to everyone. I'm thinking in particular, because you're coming from so far away, Lockport, you still could come and stay overnight if you'd like to, Sierra, but it's a little different when you're coming from Alabama.
Yeah, I can, if I'll just squeeze in really quick, since we do have a lot of local people and Jada all the way, and then we have Texas. So we are open for visits any day the university is open. We do have a ton of Saturday sessions coming up. I think every Friday or every Saturday in February and March, we're having some event of some rhyme or reason. For all of my New York State friends, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, Massachusetts, and I'm missing one. I want to say New Hampshire. You are free to go in and out of the state as you please. You do not have to quarantine or anything like that. And Pennsylvania is my other one. I'm taking out New Hampshire and replacing it with Pennsylvania. If you're from any other state that is not touching New York State, unfortunately, you do have to follow protocol. So that is getting tested 3 days prior to coming to New York State, getting tested and quarantining for 4 days. On your 4th day, getting tested, showing us a negative test result. So it's much more complicated for our students coming from out of state or out of the area, such as that. but our guidelines also just changed today hugely in Erie County and in the Western New York area. So that could also change on campus, fingers crossed, because I recruit out-of-state students. So please, I'm really hoping it changes soon, especially if they're going to welcome you. I'm also going to put my little plug. I love Varsity Village, period. I think it's the coolest living situation you can have. You're literally living in a house. So that's my little plug. So anyway, back to you guys.
Yeah. Agreed. So Clara, you wrote that you're from New York City. We do have a pretty large contingent in the houses from New York City. Let's see, Jamani. We have a new student who just joined from New York City, right? Hamadi.
Firdaus too.
Oh, Firdaus, that's right. And there's someone else that I'm missing. Haley, is she from New York City?
She's from Buffalo.
Buffalo, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, from Flushing, okay. Yeah, I don't know where they're all from, but you would find a carpool option there among the students. So a couple of the others who didn't write in where you're from. Deanna, where are you coming from? Oh, from Buffalo, okay. And is it Bolingui? Am I pronouncing that right? I'm sorry if I butchered it. And I'll ask Surinder as well while I'm at it. And did Maya put in there where she's from? Oh, yeah, Maya's from Rochester. Okay. A lot going on with social justice issues in Rochester, Maya. We have a couple of alumni who are community organizers in Rochester, and so we have a bit of a link there, and have been working with them. Stevie Vargas, who's was an alumnus from the political science department as well. Really cool student. Okay, so we're not getting an answer from those others, but that's okay. Any other questions that we can answer at this point? Our classes start tomorrow, so this is good practice for me to get back onto Zoom and get ready for everything. By the end of the day tomorrow, I'm going to have no voice left because and I'm not even joking. You wouldn't imagine what it's like to be talking for 3 hours straight. It takes a while to get back into the swing of things. So that part I'm not looking forward to, but I am looking forward to seeing all the students again. Jada, for an overnighter, Emily, is that something that you would?
Great question, Jada. Are you one of our local folks? I'm trying to scroll up really quick. Are you a non-quarantine student? Is what I'm trying to search for really quick. Let me double check on that. Because I don't know what protocol is for overnight visits. No quarantine. Woo, that's non-quarantine. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah, from Caledonia. So
yeah, so that would be up to Dr. Riley. I think that's something we'd have to look into for campus protocol for overnight visits, but that's something for you and your students, Michaela and Matt, and I think the houses to discuss. Having a guest in the house, and hey, there's a good topic of discussion. But also, Jade, if you haven't visited campus yet, we can also tie in, let us follow up with you. I'm going to write a note now.
You know, Emily, one of the things is because we do have rapid testing on campus now, what we might be able to do is as soon as you come to campus, Jada, you do a rapid test. If you test out as fine, then we could have you stay overnight in the houses. And you know, maybe Michaela can give you her email address and you guys can figure out plans for doing something like that.
Yeah, please let us know if we can make anything happen like this. We used to host these way back in the day, which seems like forever ago, over a year ago, where we would have students come, they would shadow with students. So maybe that's shadowing Matt or Michaela, staying overnight with them, and then also eating on campus and stuff like that. And then we can do the whole little mini admissions spiel to our campus too. So that's definitely something we can look into, absolutely.
Yeah. So let me just make two other really quick points that are connected to the Justice Houses. So the first is we have a relationship with people within the United Nations, and we've been working with them on setting up a combination of research that we're doing for them as well as internships. Michaela and Matt were both in a course last semester where we did research for the United Nations specifically on homelessness and COVID. And that information is actually being presented in February at the ECOSOC meeting, the Economic and Social Advisory Group meeting at the United Nations. So really cool opportunity to do research, not just for your classes, but for work that's directly connected to meaningful international work. And obviously that is social justice minded as well. The second thing is we have an international humanitarian assistance program. It's a little bit on hold because of COVID, so we haven't been doing any traveling, but as I mentioned before, Michaela and Matt went to Puerto Rico as part of a trip where we did disaster relief there. And we were on the verge last year about this time of planning to go to Australia when there were the wildfires there. Some students were looking at Nepal. I think Peru was another option. And we're developing a capacity to go and do disaster relief work all around the world. And with that, you would get a credential on your transcript that says that you have an expertise in international humanitarian assistance, which is really relevant basically for just about any field. I mean, if you think about it, whether you're a nurse, whether you're doing supply chain management in the business school, whether you're doing history, the ability to be able to say that I have humanitarian assistance experience and can apply that in a meaningful way. I've done coursework and I've been out in the field is something that could be really relevant. And a lot of that will also be connected to the justice houses moving forward. So there are opportunities that are not exclusively justice house oriented that you can also tap into as a member of these houses. So you have my email address, you have Matt's now, and I think Michaela's, as well as Emily's. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We really appreciate you taking the time tonight to learn a little bit more about this. And we hope that we've answered your questions, but if not, don't hesitate to ask more. And we will be sure to keep you posted as we move through the process and hope to see you all on campus in the fall.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Riley. Huge thank you to Michaela and Matt. Good luck on your first day of classes tomorrow. I don't know if they're ready for it. They've had a very long extended break, just like the rest of us. Yep. But also thank you to everybody else who joined us. As Dr. Riley said, feel free to reach out to any of us. We all dropped our contact. I always recommend grabbing your cell phone and taking a quick little picture of one. So I'm not going to close out the event right away. So you can scroll and take pictures as needed. Feel free to reach out. Contact me with any admissions questions, financial aid, anything like that. And like Dr. Riley said, hopefully we'll see you here in the fall. And anyway, sign up with any other events that you might be interested in as well. Other than that, have a great evening, continue to stay safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll see you soon on campus.
Great. Nice to meet you all.